Hello, everybody. My name is Vaibhav. Welcome to a live session and panel discussion with Aussizz Group on every second Friday that we do. My name is Vaibhav, your host for today, and we have May Nguyen from Perth, who
Hi.
is a registered migration agent in Perth. We have Nirav from Melbourne, who is a registered migration agent as well in Melbourne, and Vishali from Adelaide, who is also a registered migration agent. So today we are going to talk about different topics. So my colleague Nirav will be talking about the media release on the student visa holders and people who are on a student visa but who are stuck overseas, and what are the release, uh, the new release that has been made by the department recently. What are the criteria that are being easy enough for the students to accommodate them to apply for the 485 visa, and also to extend their student visas. And my colleague Vishali is going to talk about the treasurer's announcement on the budget and its impact on the migration to Australia. And my colleague May will be talking about partner visa specifically, but people who are on a student visa, and let's say either they are in AAT as well, and how they will be applying for a partner visa, how the compelling and compulsory reason impacts the application at the moment due to COVID-19. So we will first start with the media release on a student visa holders who are stuck overseas. So over to Nirav from Melbourne, who will be talking about media release on student visa holders who are stuck overseas. So Nirav, the question to you is, as you may know that a lot of people travel during February and March to overseas or to visit their country back home. Now they're stuck overseas and because of the border closure. Now, what are the recent announcement that has been made by the department, and what's the impact on them, and how they can ensure that they can come back and ensure that they can get their visa process sorted in future?
Yes, actually. So Australian immigration has like finally announced some criterias like that will help to the students like who stuck overseas or even like who are here. So they have included some like measures in that one that way like they will help to those kind of students who are affected due to this COVID situation. So first of all, like the students who are already waiting outside, like they already started the study, for example, in universities online, but they are not able to come here, and they were not able to apply for the visa because there was no announcement that how their studies online will affect their Australian study requirements, or like how it will impact on their permanent residency later on or something. So now immigration has made some clear like things so that they can start studying and even they can apply for the visa. So the first point they have said that like they will start granting the visa from offshores, like whoever already applied before, like around March or May or even recently, and they were waiting. They will start granting the visas, like even like we have seen the grants today. So actually they have started to do that. We have like received a few grants as well who were waiting before a month or something from offshore. And those like people who already got the COE but they are planning to apply for the visa, they should do that. Why? Because like at least if they apply for the visa and if they already got the visa, so whenever like Australian immigration like lifts the international travel ban, then they just need to get the like tickets and they can come to Australia. They don't need to wait for the visas to be granted, and the like longer process at them at that time might be because so many students will try to apply for the student visa when the Australian immigration will lift the ban. So it's better if you're planning to study in Australia, if you already got the COE, you should apply for the visa now and be ready when the flights will start. Because I think yesterday as well, immigration has announced that, or like not announced, but in the parliament they have discussed that the international travel ban might be gradually lifted from January 2021, most likely. And the first applicants who will be allowed to enter might be that those are students, international students. And then later on, they will allow other visa holders, like other temporary visa holders. So that's actually good news. But for that, you need to have a visa. So that's why they have cleared their first point that you should apply for a visa and you should get the visa before the travel ban lifted, so you can come here and continue your study. Second one, I would say that like if, for example, if you continue your study over there and by any means, like if you're not able to complete your study within your standard student visa duration, or even if you're in Australia and due to the COVID situation, you're not able to complete your study, and then they have announced that like the fees waiver, like you can apply for the student visa without paying any service fees. But before that, you need to submit a form that they will be published on their website. So like you can fill that form with the details, and I think your university providers or the like course provider needs to provide the details as well in that, so that like they need to understand that like how you affected with this COVID situation. For example, deferment in the course, suspension in the course, or something like that due to COVID situation. Then they can waive up the fees for the student visa as well. So that's also the benefit for the international students, I can see. The third one says that like if you're studying overseas online for like whatever duration, then that study will count for the Australian study requirement for the post-study work visa. Like that's a temporary graduate visa 485. So this was like a hot topic before the this announcement, because most of the students might have already started study over there, but they were not having a clear picture that they will able to apply for the temporary graduate visa or not, because they are like completing some part of study overseas, because the Australian study requirement states that like you must need to complete minimum 16 calendar month study here, and like for the 92 weeks registered course. So the course duration doesn't matter, but your stay might be more than like less than 16 months in Australia while completing your study. Now immigration is clear that point as well. So definitely you can apply for the TR even if you're not meeting the 16 calendar months requirement. And if you're affected with this COVID situation. However, like immigration, we do everything legislatively. They will announce the regulation and all that later on, might be in a month or something. And like for the temporary graduate visa, usually applicants are eligible if they are only in Australia. So even if you're meeting the Australian study requirement, but if you're not in Australia, like you're not usually able to apply for the TR. However, like they also made that point clear that even if you're overseas and if you complete might be your study over there, or if you're stuck over there due to COVID situation, let's say if you completed 1.5 year study here, like 3 semester, and after that you went overseas for a holiday and now you're stuck over there and you have 1 semester to finish, 1 semester is remaining to finish, then you might be eligible to apply for the TR from outside of Australia as well. So that's actually good things. And those people who are stuck overseas, at least they can get the visa. And whenever like they will leave the travel ban, they can come here in Australia, and they can continue their study as well, because that will support to the Australian university as well. And the last point which they have discussed, that is about the English language. So, and that is for the student visa actually, not for the TR. So English language means like usually the English language tests like IELTS, PT, that's requirement is at the time of decision. So you need, like even the case officer asks maybe for 28 days to submit that score, or maybe like even medical examination or something. They can give you extra time depending on how the restriction in your country. So they might give you 90 days or something as well, so that you have enough time to meet that requirement. So immigration do not want that applicant suffer due to this COVID situation, like because the restrictions or the exams, that is out of their control, because so many countries are not allowing to do the IELTS or the PT currently. So they are affected, by the way. So that is the reason they are giving extra time. So even in some of the situation, they might give like more than 90 days as well, where there is no exam is available or something. So these are the main major 5 announcement immigration has done like a couple of days back, and that will definitely help Australian international students and whoever like planning to come to Australia, because they have released the data that the Australian student visa application ratio has been drastically dropped by minimum around 33% overall. So that's actually huge. So they might want to increase that ratio as well in coming time. So that's the reason they will try to definitely help Australian international students in that way.
Okay. And with this, the changes that they have announced, when do you think the legislation is likely to come out, and for when these arrangements will start from?
So actually, in the question answer, the PDF released by the International Education Association, that mentioned that it should come by September 2020, like after maybe 2 months, so that like everyone will have an exact picture like how that they will get the benefited with this one.
So basically, what you're saying is that people should not use this arrangement right now to apply for a 485 visa. And if they apply right
Yes.
now, obviously because the legislation is not out and the changes
Yes, so
are
it's
not made.
advisable only once it is legislatively done, because let's say there are situations that our students are applying extension now, right? And their visa might be expiring, for example, by 31st of July. So they should not wait for this fee waiver availability, because they say that they will announce soon. Now, like they might announce in a week or maybe 2 weeks, but if your visa is expiring, then you definitely need to apply for your visa before that, rather than becoming an unlawful.
That's correct. So basically, viewers, please make sure that you don't misunderstand this requirement. This is just an announcement so far. It has not been legislatively made, under the law. So until it is done, you cannot use these provisions to apply for a 485 visa from offshore. Or let's say you cannot apply for a 485 visa without the English language score at the moment, because at the moment the legislation says that you must have the English language score at the time of application. So make no mistake and ensure that you do not use these arrangements as of now until it is legislatively made by the law. So then you should use it. Am I correct, Nirav, about this?
Yes, yeah, you are definitely correct, because there might be we are getting lots of inquiries there, like they want to apply for a TR, like they want to get a TR extension overseas, but it's not possible. They are misunderstanding the requirement announced by the immigration. Like I have one client who is stuck overseas, and their TR is expiring, right? So they think that like they can apply for a TR extension from overseas, but it's not possible. So
Okay.
that's the reason, like we need to wait until the legislative announcement, so everyone understand their situation, and based on that we can definitely guide them.
That's correct. So viewers, please do make sure that do not take all this announcement as in law and applicable from the day it's announced. It is applicable from the day it is made legislatively under the law. So then that day onwards, it is applicable. So please make no mistake with these things, because a lot of students and a lot of international people do misunderstand these announcements. These are an announcement and are not in effect right now. So when it comes into effect, that day onward itself, you can use it. So right now, if you're applying for a 485 or applying for a student visa, please make sure that you follow the current rule, which is as it is. It used to be, let's say, 3 months ago or 4 months ago. So there is no changes as of now, but these are the changes that the department will be making in near future. Right. So the summary that Nirav you're trying to say is people who are stuck overseas on a student visa and who has a student visa and they're not able to come back, but their student visa is about to expire and they need to extend the visa, they can apply for a student visa right now. The department will grant the visa if you meet the criteria, and you can still stay overseas and wait overseas. And as soon as the ban is lifted, you can come down to Australia. You just have to simply book the tickets, because obviously department cannot process as soon as they lift the ban, and if they don't have the visas, then the people will start applying for the visas, and it will create a traffic jam because there will be so many applications in one short period of time. So therefore, they've started saying that okay, we'll start processing the applications, we'll start granting the visas, but you will still not be able to come down to Australia until we have lifted the ban, right, Nirav? And with the fee waiver as well, you have to pay the fee right now. You may be able to get the fee refunded as well if they bring that legislative instruments in the future. And exemptions about the criteria for 485 visa, let's say 2 years Australian study criteria, and the application from offshore for 485 visa will come into effect as soon as the legislations are made available and are made in effect. But until then, you have to follow the old rules. Now, we'll move forward. Nirav, is there anything else before I move forward? Is there anything else that you want to add up?
No, I think like here, as like we discussed that, and we have covered all the points they have announced on that day. So the only thing, as you said, that we want to emphasize again that like we applicants should wait until the actual legislative things, and then only start acting or applying. However, like at least start applying for a student visa if they are waiting. So that's they have made it clear. So they should start that one.
Right. And Nirav, before I go, actually, I've got one question in my mind. So I'll probably take an advice from you right now.
Yeah.
So what if the student is on a student visa right now? The student visa is expiring on 31st of July, and the student really wants to apply for a 485, but is not able to sit in the English language test they're in Australia at the moment and not able to sit in the English language test. Should they apply for a 485 or what they should do?
I would advise them like they should not apply for a 485 because like they have not made an exemption yet for the tier, like the English language, that without English language you are eligible to apply for a tier. They must need to have the score at the time of application. If they apply without that, then there is maybe high chance of getting a rejection, so or refusal. So I would say like applicants should apply or make an other arrangements if their visa is expiring soon, but apply for the temporary graduate visa after you have the score only.
Or they have announced this or these changes that they've announced are in effect, correct?
Yes.
So either of them, but not now.
Yeah.
So this
Not now, yeah.
for this client who is on a student visa right now, so they should either apply for a visitor visa or a student visa or
Like they
something.
should get another, like let's say if they're planning to study something, they should get another COE and apply for a student visa or maybe apply for a visitor visa based on the genuine reasons. But if you get the score, for example, in between, like while processing of that visa, they should apply for the temporary graduate visa. They are eligible as long as they are meeting the TR requirement. Like you are applying for the TR within 6 months of your student visa expiring or within 6 months of your course completion, you are eligible to apply.
Right. Thank you very much, Nirav. So Nirav is our registered migration agent in Melbourne, as I said before, and is an excellent person, very good at his services, I guess. And Nirav, his work speaks for itself. He gets a lot of clients through referral, I guess. And sitting in a very big branch, right, Nirav, in Melbourne. And you've really built a very good rapport with the local community there as well, I see. Right? And congratulations for that as well. And now we'll move forward to Adelaide. So in Adelaide as well, I guess the COVID-19 is not much impacted, right, Vishali?
Yeah, thankfully, no.
That's correct. So I think only Victoria is the state which is unfortunately, stuck in this unfortunate situation. But now we'll have to live with what we have. So moving forward, the show must go on. And Vishali, you're going to talk about Treasurer's announcement on the budget and everything. What's the planning that they're thinking on? And I understand that the migration planning is not been announced, but what is this announcement in the Treasurer's announcement? What does it talk about in terms of migration part?
Yeah, okay. So it's mainly an economic and fiscal outlook. Now, as usual, usually the budget is presented every May for this migration purpose. But this year it's definitely going to be late. It is expected to be announced in October. And until then, the migration program is on hold. But what we can gather from the Treasurer's announcement yesterday, they certainly have an outlook for this migration program as well. There were certain key assumptions published in the outlook. It's mainly because of the economic thing and because of the travel restrictions, and they have tried to present how this is going to impact the net migration. Now it's definitely understood that this is going to be much lower compared to previous years. If I talk about numbers, specific numbers, in 2018-19, the net migration, the net overseas migration was somewhere about more than 232 something. But then because of the restrictions and because of applicants because of the applicants not meeting the ability to apply for visas, the number is supposed to fall down somewhere to 150, and then by in next year in 2021 fiscal year, it's going to be as low as somewhere about 30,000. Now this is a major assumption because this is going to drastically reduce the number of overseas migration, which is one of the key factors in Australia's economy. Again, there were travel restrictions imposed since March 2020, so not many applicants have been able to come into Australia. There has been an implication on permanent residents and Australian citizens who wanted to travel outside Australia as well. They haven't been able to depart unless they could present a compelling circumstance. But then between July to December 2020, there seems to be an incoming flow of citizens, permanent residents, and mainly students. Because of following the announcement, there could be border openings for students. So there is a chance that student visa holders will be allowed to enter in. But again, the number is going to be lower compared to previous years. From January next year, January 2021 to June 2021, the first half of the fiscal year, there seems to be a resumption of temporary visa holders as well. So not just student visa holders, but other temporary visa holders as well. again, the number is going to be significantly low. So we just have to wait and see how they are going to organize these numbers, and then how quickly this is going to happen. But then until then, we will have to just rely on these exemptions as well. Now, because it is proven that they won't be matching the number of net migrants, it is expected the department will be emphasizing or will be uptaking the flow of NZ pathway. Now, for the skilled migration, New Zealanders have been allowed to apply for this 189 visa. So there seems to be some leniency under this NZ category. They were usually required to be here for 5 years, and they should have been here in Australia since February 2016, and there was a certain threshold for their income. Now there seems to be some leniency towards this threshold. It may be extended to at least 3 years out of the last 5 years instead of exact 5 years. There seems to be an uptake if they announce these measures soon. Again, there is a major change, or maybe a key assumption to this working holiday makers visa as well. There are some specified sectors, but because of this bushfire thing and because of these natural calamities, the specified work has been extended. So those who are working with the local government in a declared natural disaster area, so construction work or any other work related to natural disaster will be recognized as a specified work. And then there has been an extension for the time as well. So instead of being with an employer for 6 months, if they stick with the same employer for 12 months, this is going to be allowed as well. So yeah, this was a major change again. Apart from this, because the budget is not yet allotted, all the states have stopped accepting applications as well, which they will have to continue until the budget is allotted. But I think this may happen soon. Especially in South Australia, this was going to be open in August, but now it's just not sure. It may stretch up to October. I think that's the same with every state though. It's not just South Australia.
And this uncertainty has really created a panic situation within, and students are actually getting panicked, that what's going to happen. I'm not sure, most likely. Yeah. But I guess we have to see it in an optimistic way that we can, obviously the government will do its best to make sure that they try and keep the migration program as high as possible, but then obviously at the same time the government will look into what impact it will bring to an Australian citizens or permanent residents employability, right? So definitely we are optimistic that the migration program will not fall a lot, but that we will know in as soon as the allocations are announced. But I guess the applicants will just have to try and start working on how they make their case better and look at the alternative ways, right?
Yeah, so far we are just advising everyone to be ready. At least do whatever you could do right now while waiting. You never know. We are definitely not sure what's the exact thing that's going to come in front of us. But at least even those who are offshore, they are suffering because of the availability of SA occupations, because of this NSW thing. Otherwise, there was a great chance for offshore applicants as well for the 491 regional migration. But now it seems a bit dull.
So I'm more interested in New Zealand citizens are now being able to apply for a PR, which was there already, right? Which is Subclass 189 under the New Zealand New Zealand citizen stream. Now, the New Zealand citizens who have been in Australia since 19th of February, if I'm not wrong.
It's 2016.
2016. So 19th February 2016 onwards, if you have been living there or before this date, and if you have lived for total 5 years, and out of those 5 years, you have to be earning at least 53,900 in the last 4 fiscal years. Then you can apply for a Subclass 189 visa. And the beauty is that after you get assessed, you have to pay the visa application fees. So that's also a good thing that, when you're likely to get the visa, they will ask you to make the payment for the visa application charges, which is really good. So if there are New Zealand citizens listening to this video, definitely you guys might really want to consider, if you have been living in Australia for last 4 years or more, at least 5 years actually, and you have started living in Australia before 19th of February 2016, then yes, you can be eligible. So we definitely want to visit one of our office and understand the criteria. Now, Vishali, yes, is there anything else that you would like to add on top of
No, as I said, it's just better to be ready with everything that you have. The situation may not last long. Of course, this is going to impact maybe this financial year, but sooner or later there will be some compensating requirements in the case this financial year it doesn't seem a great migration. They too need skilled migrants, so obviously there will be some leniency in future. It's better to be ready with everything whatever you have.
As a country, we do really need people and highly skilled people and people who are hardworking. We see a lot of international people coming into Australia, put in so much hard work and help this economy grow and be a part of this community, which is really great. And we really appreciate people putting so much hard work into this country, and we take it as Australia as our home. So definitely we really see and we really appreciate international students and other people who come into Australia on a temporary visa and putting their hard work and help our economy grow as well. Now, Vishali, thank you very much for your inputs about the treasurer's announcement. I'm really finding it hard to pronounce it, but and really thank you very much for your inputs on this. And guys, Vishali has been a migration agent with Aussizz Group in Adelaide for quite a while and very good at her work. And I guess Vishali, you have recently won a case for a student who had a visa cancellation in AAT, right? And I guess it went really well for you guys.
Yeah, I did.
So would you like to share just a quick brief on it?
Yeah, so it was a change of level actually. The student had initially come, let's say, for a master course, but then he had changed his level, and that's why the visa cancellation came into effect. But then, there was a good submission as well. We cited all his reasons, and he was he had genuine intentions. It's not only that he had changed this pathway just to meet the PR requirements, but he actually intended to study this, and which is how the case officer was convinced. And
that's
was
really good. Congratulations to you guys, and really good hard work. And I guess yes, that's what makes you a good agent, because when you put in the right efforts and right approach towards the case, definitely it makes a win. And probably you might want to congratulate us as well, because we won one case yesterday as well in AAT, where one of our let's say one of the client had the visa refusal previously, and they came to us when their AAT hearing was just around the corner, and they approached us, and we had to go to AAT, quickly ask for an extension because we couldn't really make it on time, because we were just handed over the case a week ago before the submission due date, and we asked them to give us some more time, and then we went through the entire documentation that the previous agent had submitted, and we had to go through a lot of things, make a good submission, explain the client's situation, and then prepare them for hearing, and then here we go. We've got a very good result for them as well. Now, 187 visa was refused as a retail manager, and it's one of the many applicants. I think hundreds of applicants were refused in 2017-18 for this occupation as a retail manager for Subclass 187, and now we are seeing a good move in getting those cases, being won in AAT, and not only us. I guess many people have won these kind of cases in the past, but it really matters on the right approach, right? And guys, before we move forward to our next discussion, we would like to bring to your notice that as Aussizz Group, we do provide services regarding education, which is including admission and student visa. We provide migration services where we do pretty much all the visas, including business visas, employer sponsorship, which is 482, 186, 187, 494. Now 187 is gone, but we do AAT hearings and AAT cases as well, review applications for all of these visas. We do process 485 skill visas, skills assessment, especially. Our team is very well equipped with the knowledge in dealing with different kind of occupations. Let's say even pick any occupation, we'll probably have dealt with most of them. So that really makes us a unique agency to be able to help people in achieving their objectives that they're here for, right? And Aussizz Group does not only provide migration education, and also we provide professional year services. And apart from that, we also provide coaching in PT and NATI throughout most of our branches. And we do have other online services as well, which is NATI CCL tutorials, which you can download the app from the App Store and Google Store, I think Google Store as well. And we have an application called PTE tutorials as well, where you can practice your PTE. And we do have a getmypolicy.com.au where you can compare the policy in one go for student visas and 485 or let's say overseas visitor health covers. So if you want to really buy the health insurance, you want to compare, you can just go on our website and compare those ones as well. We do have a search my NZESCO where you can find out the everything about your occupation that you're nominating for migration. So these are the additional online services which we provide as well. So you might really want to visit those websites and see if there's something that helps you. And if you need any help as well, you can definitely visit one of our offices. Most of most of the cities do have the branches. Like we are based in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Perth. So sorry, I didn't forget you. So, if you have any questions, definitely reach out to any of our migration agents and they will be able to help you out. Now we'll move forward to the next part, which is May Nguyen is from Perth. And welcome, May. So now it's your turn to talk. I know you have listened to us for so long.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
If you can brief us about what you're going to talk about briefly, and then get into it. So let's get the things moving.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the partner visa subclass 820 today specifically for those who you guys are out there who are on temporary visas like student visa, a graduate visa even, or any other temporary visas, and you happen to be so lucky to have a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, or who are you intending to get married soon, or you are in a de facto relationship currently, when you've proven you can prove easily to immigration that you've been living together for at least 12 months. So the partner visa, so Class 820, would be applicable to you if you want to pursue PR, okay? And with the situation currently in the world with COVID-19 in Australia and what we've been hearing all this time just now with the situation with immigration, how it's getting harder and harder for you guys out there to find PR pathway. I think that people who are lucky enough to have the chance to be eligible to apply for partner visa, I think you should make a decision quick, smart. If you've been lingering your thoughts about do I decide to get married soon, or should I think about lodging the partner visa soon, I recommend strongly that you should do it as soon as possible, especially when in the past 2 or 3 months I've noticed a lot of applications being lodged for a partner visa from my office and in other offices of our Aussizz group. It seems that people are a bit fearful of the future, and rightly so. So if PR is something that's that what you want to have in for Australian permanent residency, and if it's getting for your own personal circumstance, if you feel as if it's just too hard to be invited for your EUIs and stuff in the future, then if you're lucky enough to be eligible for partner visa, I strongly recommend you do it as soon as possible and apply, and come to see us, then we can help you to apply.
That's right. And I guess a lot of people, they do have a partner, but then they have their, I really want to get a skill visa or visa on my own. If it doesn't work, then only I'll probably move forward for a partner visa.
Yes. So let's talk about potential ways of for certain circumstances of people in the position of if you're holding a student visa, or visitor visa, or if you're on AAT at the moment. If I could start with the student visa, let's say your student visa is expiring probably by March next year, as you usually do if you're studying all this while, and you have been in a de facto relationship with your partner for, let's say, about a year or less than a year from now, let's say. So by next year, before your student visa expires, then you should consider to lodge a partner visa, even on the day before your student visa expires, is still possible for you, and rightly so, that you're able to lodge the partner visa. Just bear in mind that, when you first came over to Australia, you were probably most probably single, when you applied for a student visa from offshore, from back home. And then all this time you've been studying, and you never thought to update immigration that you're no longer single, but you've been in a de facto relationship. Okay, so think about, before launching the partner visa, you should update immigration by doing like a form 1022, change of circumstances, and sending them an email with that form and providing proof that you've been living together for 12 months through residential tenancy agreement, joint utility bills, photos, proof that you've been backdated 12 months at least before that. And then you can just send it through to immigration and give them about 5-10 days to update your details, and then you'd be safe to lodge that partner visa after that. Okay.
So do you mean that if I don't update it, let's say I didn't update it, I didn't care, I'm very careless, I didn't update it. So what happens in that case?
I guess it's not the end of the world, I don't think, but normal practice for me anyway. I'd rather do that for my client just to be safe than sorry, because it could be that if you're unlucky, that you get a difficult case officer of the day, they might question whether you were in a de facto relationship at the time, considered to be, for legislation purposes, in a de facto relationship when you lodge the application for partner visa. And then you have to fight your way through A&T potentially. And we don't want to do that. It can get messy. Yeah. For visitor visa holders, let's say you came over a few months back and then COVID-19 happened and you're stuck here. And then there are other ways, like, when your visitor visa was about to expire, you need to apply for another visitor visa. And I've seen that it was easily granted for people who applied recently for their visitor visa, and they've given them another 6 months until the beginning of next year. So while you're on visitor visa, so long as you don't have the condition 8503 of no further stay condition, then you can apply for another visa anytime while you're in Australia. Whether you're eligible for that particular visa or not is another matter. But so long as you don't have that extra condition on that visitor visa, 8503, then you're eligible to apply for a partner visa. So some people who have come over to visit their boyfriend or their family members and stuff, and then they hold a visitor visa, if they've found somebody, it could be seen as a shotgun wedding, but still, if you do manage to get married in time and have a marriage certificate to show for it and get it registered, you have this blue marriage certificate that's been registered for the birth test marriage registry, then at any time before your visitor visa expires, let's say, you can lodge the partner visa. Okay, which means that once it's lodged, and the next day when the visitor visa had expired already, you'll be on the bridging visa A of the partner visa, and you get to stay indefinitely while you wait for that visa application to be processed. You get to work full time, and also you get to apply for Medicare.
Sorry, I asked many questions,
Yeah.
But I guess I'm just don't mind. I'm asking on behalf of the viewers. I guess if I have the question, most likely they will have the same. So if, let's say, I came here on a visitor visa to visit my partner, I had the no further stay condition, right? Then is there likely chances that it can be waived off right now?
Yes, you can, especially because of COVID-19. We can help you to get the waiver for you, so you can take that off as well. So
that's great. And as you are expert of in the family visa, especially partner visa, I would like to ask another question as well. That let's say I'm not able to get married in short time. I came here on a visitor visa just to visit my partner, and then we decided that yes, I want to apply for a partner visa. Is there any way that I can apply for a partner visa without getting married as well?
Only through, if you can prove the de facto relationship. There's apart from that, if you need time to prove that you're in a de facto relationship of 12 months, then you have to figure out of another visa, let's say a student visa. If you apply for a student visa to drag it out the time, when you hold a substantive visa, as long as you hold a substantive visa, then later on down the track, you could always apply for the partner visa later on. But you need to.
Is the visitor visa, is the relationship registration is not sufficient to prove the de facto relationship?
Yes, I guess in this situation, I was always thinking in WA purpose, because in WA, Perth, we don't have a registry for registering de facto relationships. So you guys over there, you're lucky you have your own registry, yeah? So then people can just go register to be in a de facto relationship. Well, that's easier for those particular people who don't have to actually show the full.
What do you do with the people? Because I'm very surprised that there is no registration.
Yeah.
The relationship in Western Australia. I think few states does not have that as well. So is there any way that you can get them to move to another state and probably, let's say, have a registration? Or
good, yeah, you could move, yes.
But then obviously
it's in WA, then they can't. Yeah, they really have to go through that providing evidentiary documents to prove that they've been living together at least 12 months. So the residential tenancy agreement and utility bills and other documents to, I have to actually backdate it like 12 months prior to, yeah.
That's right. Okay, and is there anything, sorry, you can continue now because I have questions, but I'll just throw that.
Just on the off chance that if any one of you out there have been on the AAT waiting to go to the hearing, that you haven't been invited to a hearing yet, and you don't hold a substantive visa, you're on a bridging visa, and you because of AAT, you're barred from applying for any visa onshore except protection visa or like medical treatment visa. There's a potential that if you are married to an Australian citizen or an Australian permanent resident, and let's say exceptional circumstances happen that you are pregnant or you're about to give birth with a baby, you could potentially lodge a partner visa application, and citing that through compelling compassionate grounds, you want to seek that immigration consider your application, accept it. And so I'm still waiting from immigration for that for one of my clients. So we're using that as an excuse, as a compelling compassionate grounds. And also, of course, with the COVID-19, we've already applied for another client in the situation where they've been in a de facto relationship, they can't leave the country, and they want to lodge a partner visa application. So we'll see how it goes with that too.
So COVID-19 can be a reason, because obviously, it's a genuine reason. We're not making
yeah,
up.
It's an exceptional circumstance that happened. Yeah, so I think immigration is quite, accommodating in so many ways for other visas, like visitor visa, and they're granting visitor visa for people who are stuck here on visitor visa before. So we're hoping that again for partner visa applications, they would also accept it. Yeah,
that's right. And I've always seen that the Department of Home Affairs and the officers working at the department are quite supportive as well in most of the cases, unless you have issues.
I noticed that recently the graduate visa applicants who we lodged during like March, and during that time, March, April, a lot of the IELTS centres were closed, or PT IELTS centres were closed. They could not sit the English test to be eligible to apply for the graduate visa. So we kind of like had to apply and lodge the graduate visa anyway for them, because there's no other, they couldn't afford to study further or pay any more fees. So we did that, and then somehow recently I've received 2 emails from immigration for 2 different clients, and they note that these particular clients did not have the English skills, the English competency certificate yet. So they provided us with 90 more days to go and get your English certificate or your competency test cleared. Yeah.
So the department really plays fair with
I think they're very accommodating.
They're following the rules.
Mm.
Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to add, May?
No, I think that's enough for me. Yeah.
Okay. And Nirav or Vishali, would you have any questions about partner visa? While we have the expert in partner visa and family visa here, probably you want to throw your questions as well if you have one.
Not questions, maybe just the thing that I think it's a requirement. It's better to let the viewers know. Sometimes they apply on the basis of de facto relationship, and then meanwhile during the process they just hurry up to get married. But then I think it would prove to be disastrous, right? Once you apply on the basis of de facto or registered relationship, and meanwhile if you get married, that would just turn the tables down. So I think it's better to wait until you're granted a partner visa and then get married.
I've never come across that situation, but when you're in a de facto relationship, you haven't got married yet, and if you decide to get married, it's your right to get married, so it wouldn't affect detrimentally for the partner visa anyway. But if you do that, I think it would reinforce your commitment to each other further. So I don't think it would hurt the application.
Yeah, I mean technically it should be that way. Yeah. But I think there is a hindrance.
Yeah, I guess I've come across this kind of situation once, but
yeah.
I agree with you, May. As you know more about the partner visas, I guess. So I agree with you that it reinforces another time of application as long as you have met the de facto relationship requirement.
That's right, at the time.
It will be an issue, and at the time of the decision, if you're married, I guess that would actually prove that you're in genuine relationship and you have been in a genuine de facto relationship at the time of application. That's why you got married later on, right? So Nirav, do you have anything else to add up or any questions?
Yes, actually, for partner visa specifically, I think it's a broad topic. Everyone knows that. So yes, May, there might be like so many applicants, like Australian citizen PR, like who are here, but they got engaged overseas. Their partner is overseas, but like they can't go overseas to get married now.
That's
So
right.
what particularly they can do so that like they can like utilize this time for their processing or something rather than waiting until the restriction will be lifted, going there, getting married and apply for
Yes,
partner visa.
Get
that's
married
true.
online.
Yeah, we encourage that. We should act on it. Yeah, don't wait until they prove everything. By that time, it'll be bottlenecked later on as well. So there'll be further delay. You'd rather act now and prepare everything and lodge it, and then you're more than halfway there for later on.
So yeah, like
It
the
does not
online
allow
marriage.
online marriages.
I think only the Pakistan and in the Pakistan country, I think we believe that they allow the online marriages as per nikah, right? But I think in India they doesn't allow the online marriages for even like for Muslims. So I think like you should speak about the prospective marriage visa as well, like if they are engaged, you know.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Right, and I guess countries like Philippines, I'm sure that they also have a very lengthy process to get married if you're an Australian citizen. I'm not sure about Vietnam. So, May, you're from Vietnam, right?
I'm from Vietnam.
Yeah, so
it's straightforward. Yeah, it's not.
is it straightforward? You can get married there?
Yeah.
Even online?
No, I don't think online.
Right. Okay, guys. So yes, thank you very much. May is really excellent migration agent in especially I guess expertises in family visas, right, May?
Thank you.
And May is based in Perth. So if anybody's from Perth listening to this panel discussion, definitely you might want to visit May, and she will be able to help you out with your situation. Now today's discussion is we have covered. I'll just recap everything just in a short description. So from Nirav, media release from the department states that students who are stuck overseas can still start applying for a student visa from offshore. They start granting, but you got to still wait until the travel ban is lifted, and then you can start traveling to Australia as soon as the travel ban is lifted. And people who are, let's say, applying for intending to apply for a 485 visa in future, or let's say they're stuck overseas and they're still studying, they can still continue to study and meet the 485 visa requirement and apply. They will be able to apply for a 485 visa offshore itself, and that should come in, legislation should come in very soon, most likely by September or August. And you will be able to apply, let's say meet the 2 years Australian study requirement, even though you have not spent the entire time studying in Australia, and you might have spent some time studying overseas because you got stuck overseas due to COVID-19 restrictions. And discussion from Vishali, the treasurer's announcement about the budgets and migration planning level. I guess most of the things does not affect, only that the people from overseas will not be able to come down to Australia. So eventually it's going to bring down the number of people coming down to Australia from 240,000 a year, or let's say somewhere around there, and to down to this financial year, only 30,000 or so people coming from overseas, and most likely most of them will be probably on a student visa or some temporary visas. But people who are in Australia, they don't mix this with the planning level. These are not the planning levels. These are the people who are coming to Australia every year from overseas on some sort of temporary visa. Now, and the last discussion from May, partner visa. So if you're if you're on visitor visa or any other substantive visa and you are intending to apply for a partner visa, it is comparatively straight, that you can apply as long as you can prove your de facto relationship or married relationship. But if you are in, let's say, if you're barred by Section 48, either you've been visa refused and you are in AET at the moment, and you want to apply for a partner visa, and you are, you're worried about Schedule 3 criteria where, you have to prove the compelling circumstances for not being able to lodge an offshore application. Probably COVID-19 could be a reason that you can justify, because obviously, you're not able to travel and therefore you could not lodge the application offshore, which is quite, a compelling reason that we can justify. And, last thing that I probably would want to add from my end is the employer sponsorship visas. So if you're applying for an employer sponsorship visa, especially let's say 482 or 186 or 494, probably let's say be sure that, or make sure that your employer is still operating and they have the operations ongoing right now as of when you're applying for the visa. and they're likely to continue their operation in next 2 years or 3 years for the duration of your sponsorship. And also make sure that you do include additional information like photos of restaurant complying with the government's direction on COVID-19 and social distancing. Probably you want to include further explanation about how the business is operating in the COVID-19. What is the impact of COVID-19 in the business? Probably get a letter from accountant as well, stating that the business has not been impacted, widely due to COVID-19 restrictions or closed down or lockdowns, let's say. So do make sure that you include these things in the applications. And if you have been refused for a nomination or visa in the past, let's say, as I said, we recently had a win in AT for the retail manager who got refused 2 or 3 years back for 187 visa. We recently had a win in that as well, as long as you're working for the employer. And if you continue working for the employer, you do have a very good chances of getting through there as well. And for skill visas, I guess we just have to wait and watch. The invitation round was conducted in July 2020 as well, but the number of invitations were quite low, and I can see that the report has just been listed online today. It's published online today, and the number of invitations were only 170 for subclass 189 and 30 for subclass 491, and the invitations were only issued to engineering occupations in this month invitation round. But hopefully, once the allocations are, let's say, announced and the department has laid out the path for this financial year on what's going to happen throughout this financial year on the skill migration part, especially subclass 189, 190, and 491, I guess the things will start moving from August, September, or probably October for sure, and you will see the move there. But in the meantime, we advise as Aussizz group that you start preparing for the worst case scenario and see if you can do anything that you can to do to improvise your case. Let's say increase your points, or see if you can get employment in your field. That will also increase your chances of getting the state nomination, or let's say move to a regional areas where you're likely to meet the state nomination criteria, so that you can start working towards it while you wait for the programs to be announced. Right? You should not wait and wait and sit here that, okay, I'm just going to wait and see what state is going to announce, and then I'll decide. That's a wrong, wrong approach, because you're wasting your time in the meantime. So I'll probably utilize this time and see which state I really am likely to meet the criteria according to the last known criteria, so that you can meet up the state nomination criteria as soon as they start applying, let's say start nominating the people. Now, yeah, that's all for today's discussion. And unless any of our panelists would like to add anything before I start my closing statement. All good? All right, guys, and thank you very much for joining us today in our live session. We will be back again after 2 weeks, which is, let's say, not next Friday, the following Friday. And we will cover up most of the points. But if you do have any questions, you can always put it in the comment box, and our team will definitely answer your questions. Or you can contact us on Facebook via inbox as well, or contact one nearest office to you, and our offices will be able to assist you if you need an appointment or anything. And as I mentioned during the video as well, that Aussizz Group does not only provide migration education services and the professional year enrollments. We do have other services, which is PT tutorials, CCL tutorials, which are our online apps, and the getmypolicy.com.au, where you can compare your health insurances. But do not forget to watch our next video on next Friday on education section, what you can study, which is, I guess, we do cover what you should study to make sure that those courses can help you in your career. So our education team will be on live on next Friday on that education section as well. So thank you very much for joining today, and we wish you have a very good weekend and safe. Stay safe, basically, from COVID-19, I guess. And wish you and your family a safe weekend as well. So if you do go out, please make sure that you wear your masks, especially in Victoria, and make sure that you comply with the government's directions on social distancing, and be careful, basically, and stay safe. And enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much.